May I now invite Mr. Chung to the stage for his presentation, please. Thank you.
Good morning. The short speeches are over. Okay. I'm going to share with you something that you probably never heard before. That's why they asked me to come. And also, a lot of it has to do with what you are doing, and also how to provide a better service to your clients. And also, as leaders in your own company, you are actually providing leadership service to the rest of the company. I have been in service all my life. However, I have noticed that the service thinking and the service design is very, very different from industrial design and manufacturing design. And we are actually some of the minor population in a growing world of manufacturers. Sometimes the manufacturer tell us that we are useless, but actually without us, they can't operate, but they don't know that. How do you explain water to a fish? So here I go. So this is what I'm going to talk about. Why should you listen to me? 3 things that will change your life, professional life. 3 things are the environment, the mind model, and the difference between a manufacturing worker mindset and a professional service provider mindset. And then the system that the professional services manage in. So my story, why should you listen to me? I was born in Macau. I went to school in Hong Kong. I went to tertiary university education in the United States, and I majored in fisheries management. Now that has a lot to do with how I manage the service, because you manage the pond for the happiness of the fish. So if the fish is happy, then your clients are happy. So if your apprentices and your partners are happy, then your clients are happy. A lot of people say, you never talk about your client. I say, because I pay a lot of attention to my fish. I mean, to my couriers. Right, yeah. And then I started DHL International in 1972. A lot of people think that DHL International is part of the United States. It's not. It is 2 separate companies. The United States, DHL Corporation owns and operates in the United States, and also all the places that has the U.S. flag. The Guam, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, all that is under America. In 1971, December, they came to Hong Kong, and they want to start Hong Kong, Manila, and Singapore. They were talking about cities. In Hong Kong, they found me, and they decided, I convinced them to establish Hong Kong as the global office for reasons that all you know and you explain to your clients, that Hong Kong is a great place for international business because our tax rate is low and we have very good professional support, and the total system of the British Commonwealth or British American system. Then I did community service and social service, which are both services. We sold DHL in 2001 because our senior partner, Larry Hilblom, the head of DHL, died in a plane crash in Saipan. And the rest of us didn't have enough money, or the management didn't have enough money to buy a share. So we sold it to Deutsche Post, the German post office, which was trying to go global. Then I knew I was going to be out of a job, so I have to find a new job. So I studied for a professional artist degree at RMIT at 62, so that I have something to do. And the picture, that painting you saw in the beginning is one of my work. And then I taught entrepreneurship for 8 years at the Hong Kong University and wrote a textbook with a partner of mine. 8 years ago, I started lobbying the Hong Kong universities that in order to provide good service, you not only need training in your major, in your skill, but actually you need a wider spectrum of knowledge. So I pushed for, I advocated for liberal arts thinking and liberal arts education. So last year was the first year where they changed 343, 3 high school, 3 senior high, and now we have 4 years of university instead of only 3 as the British system. So that one more year, we are teaching general education in Hong Kong now. And then I started the Hong Kong Institute of Service, Leadership and Management at the 8th University with the financing of my good friend Victor Fung and William Fung. They gave me 40 million Hong Kong dollars to do it in 8 universities in Hong Kong. And now all the universities in Hong Kong are creating their service, leadership, and management courses. Now, 3 things that will change your life. I think most of us need 3 things. And those 3 things are an environment, a mindset, a mind model, and a system. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So first, the endowed environment. Well, my computer cannot spell. So the environment is the soil and also the culture that we operate in. And by explaining it, I hope to show you that the environment that you are in, at least those of you are from Australia, from New Zealand, from Hong Kong, from Singapore, you carry that environment with you when you grew up in that environment. Now, the amazing fact is right on the screen right now. The international hotel chains, Nikko, Japanese, German, Kempinski, the French, you have Novotel, Meridian, Swiss, you have Swissôtel, Italian, Korean, Russia, none, and China, not yet. They are all 3-star and 4-star hotels. All the international 5- and 6-star hotels are Canadian, either Canadian, Four Seasons, Fairmont, American, we have Grand Hyatt, Hyatt, Ritz-Carlton, Conrad, Hilton, Marriott, Sheraton. Hong Kong has 2 or 3 originated in Hong Kong, or you have Peninsula, the Mandarin, the Region. Singapore, you have the origin of the Shangri-La, and India, now you have the Taj and Oberoi. Now, again, these are international 3- and 4-star hotels. These are the international 6- and 5- and 6-star hotels. Remember the last list? They are all British Commonwealth American soil. All British and American environment and culture. Now, other professional services. Top 100 law firms. I should have put this line first. The Big Four and all the other ones. Top-tier advertising and PR firms. The biggest advertising firm actually is a Japanese. They bill the most, but they couldn't get out of Japan. It's called Dentsu. Most of you probably have heard of it if you've done work in Japan. The biggest and best supply chain company is Li and Fung. Worldwide Express companies, DHL, FedEx, UPS. Business consultants, McKinsey, Boston Group, Bain, Booz Allen. Credit card, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. Best airline in the world, voted, Cathay Pacific, Singapore Airlines. If I were speaking in Singapore, I would put Singapore first. And something that, some company that most of you would have attended their function, but you hardly notice their name because it's a B2B, it's an industrial company called Pico International. It's an exhibition company, and they do events. And that's a Singapore company. They went IPO in Hong Kong, but basically is run by Singaporeans. So, excellent manufacturers, we have Japan, Korea, China, Russia, Eastern Europe, Germany, France, Italy, and Turkey. If you notice, Japan was an empire, they still have an emperor. Korea is a kingdom. China was an emperor. Russia had Tsars. Eastern Europe has their dynasties. Germany has they have a leader that's top down. They have what do you call the head of Germany before they became a republic? Kaiser, yes, Kaiser. France had Napoleon. Italy had inherited the culture of the Roman Empire, and then Turkey had the Ottoman Empire. So the excellent international service providers all came from the British Commonwealth. This slide is not politically correct because I still think of Hong Kong as part of the British Empire, Commonwealth, but actually, culturally, we are, right? Sovereignty-wise, we're not, but culturally, or at least in my generation, I grew up in the British influence. Then you have USA, you have Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, Hong Kong, Singapore, and a lot of islands in the East Indies, and they're all British Commonwealth. So we are, or those who are from Hong Kong, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Singapore, we are very fortunate that we have an endowed culture that is good for international service. This is not an important point, but next two will be important because this one, we are born with it. So if we are born with thin eyes, we're stuck with it. But if so far we're born with the endowed culture. Next, number two is a good mind model. My mind model, when I tell my couriers and also my students and also people who come to my office to get some of my gospel, so to speak, or some of my thinking is, life is an entrepreneurial journey because nobody lived your life before you, right? So you are the first one who lived your life. So you are the first entrepreneur of your life. And your business in life actually is providing a personal service, whether you are a son, a father, a partner, a professional person, or a manager. So, and you provide personal service to all the people you come in contact with. My student, one of them very smart, asked me, how can a baby, after born a few hours, provide service? I say, have you ever noticed at the maternity ward how the grandparents go, just looking at the baby? So the baby already, after 2 hours of of existence, already providing a service to the grandparents and also the father, because the father feel a lot less than the mother because the father did his work 9 months ago. So everyone is an entrepreneur, service entrepreneur. So let that stick in your mind, right? You are the entrepreneur, and you have customers and clients. You have suppliers, and also your customers are also your suppliers, depending on the role. Right? Your husband, as a supplier, as a husband, to your wife, you're the supplier, and as a customer, your wife is your supplier. And the most important supplier or the major customer is you to yourself, because every morning you have to serve yourself. And also, I think most of us do not realize every day we are consuming our own service. So we are a consumer of our own service. As a service provider, we have a personal brand, and that's what I'm going to talk about at the third part. Yeah. Sorry, somehow this slide got. Wait. No, I'm sorry. They opened. They open a. Okay. I am going to have to ad-lib here. So I gave you the model as a personal service person. I'm going to give you the system. First, I will explain the one-dimensional man of a manufacturing man, right? Herbert Marcuse wrote a book in 1964 called The One-Dimensional Man. And he was mainly lamenting on that the world has changed to a one dimension because it's an industrial revolution and they only hire you for 2 hands and 2 feet and also hire you for 8 to 12 hours. And they want you to leave all the dimensions of your personality at the gate. They don't want you to bring it in. That's why a factory can have 12 people committing suicides and doesn't make a dent because they only want that one dimension. And also that only the product meets the customer. The people, the worker never meet the customer. However, in service, we meet the customer every day, every time. If you don't meet it, our courier would meet our customer, our apprentice, and our people that do, the manager who does the auditing, they meet their customer every day. They are the service. The quality of your people is the quality of your service. They are the brand. And they come in as a whole man. And a whole man has 12 dimensions. And these are the 12 dimensions of, I will go through it very quickly, and because I am going to go into it more detail when later. Our 12 dimension, this is a checklist for you, so that you have learned all these bits and pieces from various places. This is one time that you see all of them in one place. And that's why I say earlier that you probably never heard of this. First is this functional dimension, what you can do. This is all your professional skills, your communication skills, your management skills. Second dimension is social dimension, mental dimension, spiritual dimension, emotional happiness dimension, your moral dimension, your care dimension, your health dimension, your wealth, visual, leadership, and lifelong learning. First, the functional dimension. This is what you learn in business school, accounting school, university, and also during your intern. The ability to execute. If you can't do things, you are not hireable. Your professional and formal ability are your skills. These you learn from business school and high school and university and trade schools. Number two, your social relationship, your social dimension, the ability to organize and interact with people, the role model and someone that others admire you, that is your social dimension. Intellectual dimension, the ability to help transform others. And before that, you have to transform yourself. The stream of this is the guru in the intellectual dimension. And they have developed personally as a result of your contact. That's other people raise their IQ, intelligence after meeting you. Spiritual dimension, this is not only religion. Religion is part of it, but religion, your other spiritual dimension is your ability to connect with the bigger things in life, like the environment, the climate, the common good, and also human rights. This is the spiritual dimension. Someone who has figured out the higher purpose, the capacity to contribute to everybody's welfare and to public development. This is the spiritual dimension. Happiness. When you join a party, does the happiness raise or the happiness decreases? And raise the level of positive emotion and happiness. When I come to this slide, it always reminds me of my number 6 aunt. Actually, it's number 6 grand aunt. She was not a happy person because after she got married to her husband, she found out that he had another wife. So husband picked her, but the mother picked the other wife. So being a good son, she married both. And she found, my grand aunt found out that she had another husband, had another wife, only when she called him at work, and the colleagues told her that Mr. Chung went to hospital to have a baby. And he said, well, I'm not having a baby. Then he found out that there was another wife. So from that date on, she was not happy at all, right? And she does it very unwisely, is when she go into a situation, she always pick on other people so that they lower your happiness. So they come to my office, they come to our home, pick on my mother, pick on us, and we were miserable. Every time she comes, we just... So, one time, my wife, about 12 years old, me and my brother would get together and say, we have to deal with this. So you can't say rude things to somebody who's senior. So we say, why don't we humor her? So we figure out that next time when she comes, we say, Grandaunt, who are you coming to scold this time? Yeah. In Chinese, it's very, 你今日嚟鬧邊個? So next time she came and we say that to her and say, no, I'm not here to scold anybody. So from then on, she stopped doing that. So if somebody does something that irritates you to hell, sorry, my language, humor them. Yeah. And happiness is very important because you can manage your happiness by getting rid of the things that doesn't make you happy. And one thing is stopping people who make you unhappy. The moral dimension, this is the dimension to establish trust and respect. And this is very important, is you or we do not notice how important of moral authority is until we lose it. It's when people don't trust you and don't listen to you anymore. So the people who used to follow you don't follow you anymore. People who are good, they don't want to serve you anymore, so they leave your community, they leave your team, or they leave your company. I'm not going into a case study of Hong Kong. You have to ask the Hong Kong people why we have a case where somebody lost their moral authority. So, would you work for somebody who's unkind, unfair, disrespectful, stupid, repeat the same stupidity, untrustworthy, disloyal, cowardly, corrupt, shameless, not care for the old, not care for the young, unwilling to correct mistakes, and not willing to forgive? I go through this because this would be familiar to the Chinese. These are 不仁、不義、無禮、不智、無信、不忠、不勇、不廉、無恥. So these are the traditional Chinese standards that we try to avoid. And it's a double negative. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. So the seventh is the care dimension, the ability to care for others and demonstrate compassion. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. Health dimension, I was sick for 2 years. I couldn't do anything. I needed a new kidney, so last year I got a new kidney. Now I can serve everybody. Wealth dimension, ability to help others to accumulate wealth, at least not borrow money from them, and also for the ladies in this room, be financially independent, because men are basically not reliable. Visual dimension, ability to look the part and act the part, look good, feel good. My DHL experience was when I came back in 1972. I dressed like a hippie, and like the picture you see, Beatles, wide lapel, bell bottom, and I couldn't sell a thing. I was selling to bankers, shippers, who we try to give us important documents. And then a friend of mine said, "You're dressing like a hippie. How would anybody give their important documents to you?" So I say, "How?" He say, "Well, dress like a IBM salesman. Striped ties, white shirts, blue dark color suits." And so I changed my look. And from that day on, well, for the following week, I sold 3 accounts. Now, I am actually retired. I don't have to dress like an IBM salesman. But if I want to communicate to you trust and confidence, I have to dress like this, except I added something else. So, leadership dimension, this is the establishment of respect and trust. If people don't trust you, they don't respect you, then you are relatively kind of downgraded as a leader. So also, this is the job promotion, because we always look for couriers that other people trust and they can lead. So we do a 360 peer review whenever we hire people. So the importance in getting the right people and keeping them in DHL is not telling the HR people hire good people. They can't, because they hire from the same pool. And you probably are hiring people that has been to 5 interviews, and then you get them. But the key is promote the right people. Yeah, that's how you get the right people. Get them, promote the right people, hire less, pay them more, and have them working longer. We have people that work for us since day one. I retired in 1995. We have people who retired in 2002. That's 40 years. Yeah. Particularly in your industry, in accounting. You don't want to keep all the people that you hire because then you have a lot of people working for you. But for your partners, make sure you promote the right partners for trust and respect. Because if the other people cannot trust them, or other partners cannot trust them, then you would have a very loose organization. And this is life learning. The ability to continue learning so that you can continue to benefit others. I don't talk about DHL anymore because that's old hat. And I move on to explaining the essence of DHL. So, summing it all up, these are really what people are buying from you. These are your essence and your soul. And I use the term brand as a metaphor, but it's really you. And one dysfunctional dimension may turn away followers. And leaders without followers is just another guy walking on the street, because you don't see people following them. Now, I go through this very quickly because I only have 5 minutes. The most important 3 attributes out of the 12 is competence, that's your expertise; moral, that's your character; and care. I will put it in a matrix. On top, it's on the right is moral, care, and competence. What happens if you have high moral, high care, high competence, high, low? So this is. So 1, this is somebody that has high competence, high moral, and high caring. I used to have Gandhi and Confucius photo on there, and my students say, "Don't you know anybody who's living?" So. So these are good leaders because they make money. Warren Buffett make a lot of money, but he said, "My heart is not really in doing charity." So, Bill, you are good in that. Why don't I give you $1 billion and you go out and do it? So what happens if you have high competence, high moral, and low care? These are the professors that are doing research. And also the partners are very good in text, but they don't really care about the rest of the office. So those are people that have high competence, high moral, but very little care in the office. This is high competence, low moral, high care. These are Godfather and Triad bosses. They have very very intelligent, and also they care for their family, but the moral has something to be desired. This is high competence, no moral, low care. I don't want to show any pictures of a living person, so. And also, right, the people in Wall Street, right. Competence, low competence in the modern sense of running a business or doing professional things. My grandmother would be not competent in that aspect, but morally and caringly, she's very high. Most of my morals came from her. Then you have competence low, moral low, and care. These are the lower goons, Sopranos, Tony Soprano's goons, and in Hong Kong they would look like this. Competence low, moral high, care low. They wouldn't contribute too much to the society because they would be hermits, monks, and nuns who keep them for themselves. But you can have. Then we come to low competence, low moral, low care. Usually, it's a nobody. But now, we have a lot of rich and, We don't want to skip over that one too easily. Rich and spoiled second generation. They are taking over a lot of business all around the world. So if you have clients that has that type of problem, so if you want to be a leader, successful leader in any business or any profession, be a role model whom others want to emulate, articulate a story that others wants to follow. Yeah. Okay. That was my original talk, right? But I thought in the modern business environment, we always talk about bonuses. This is a bonus. If you have children, this is a bonus of explaining the 10 skills for students and apprentices that you have in the future. Skills for the future. Critical thinking and problem solving, number one. Because without critical thinking and problem solving skills, you are not very effective. Collaboration and influence across the network. This is where function and also the functional dimension and also your respect dimension, because nobody would cooperate with you. You can have no influence with them if you have no trust and respect. Agility and adaptability, initiative and entrepreneurial spirit, effective writing and oral communication. So when you're training your apprentice, think of these tests, 10 lists. Assessing and analyzing information. Assessing is not a problem now. Everything is in the internet, on the internet. I learned how to cook eggs. I learned how to cook abalone on YouTube. Curiosity, imagination, building personal trust and respect, making decisions and carry them out on the spot. This is improvisation. This is service, actually. If you can make decisions, particularly when things are not predictable, and then you solve them on the spot. Because if the courier called the office, that's a service failure. If I ask somebody to give me a 5-minute boiled egg, and she has to ask her supervisor, that's a service failure. And in order to keep your people, you have to care and be fair. All the skills you need to run a service. The ability to handle a situation that's relatively unpredictable and deal with it on the spot. And that takes from the primary school up to high school and to university. That is professional service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chung, for your presentation. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Chung? Please raise your hands.
Yes.
Mr. Chung, thank you. It was a very entertaining and informative presentation. You obviously lived a very interesting and dynamic life. What factors, other than the pond, raising the pond and raising the fish in the pond,
yes,
what factors drove you to cultivate the thinking about service and how you've evolved in your thinking and developing universities?
Right. Basically, I am what they call a Renaissance man. I get dull or bored by making the same thing over and over again. Right? So manufacturing is that. Actually, DHL job is not my first job. My first job was a buying off, the operation manager of an office that were buying toys from Hong Kong and shipping to the United States. And supervising people making the same thing every day and talking to people who has a manufacturing mentality with a service mentality was driving me crazy. Yeah. So it's like asking a factory manager manage a hotel. Well, you can, but it would be like a bread and breakfast, very low-grade hotel. But you can't have a Conrad if you have a factory manager or factory people who used to own factories One day think, I want to own a hotel. Yes, there are plenty of those. But they run, Japan is like, once they get out, they run Nikko, which is a 3-star hotel. They only have one. Korea doesn't. They have 6-star hotels inside Korea. And there are a lot of 6-star hotels in China. But once they get out, then it all rely on trust. And also, one thing between manufacturing mentality and service mentality is manufacturing mentality, all they do is, everything they do is design, planning, and it's pretty predictable, the end result, right? Because they can even put rocket in space, right? We must be able to do anything. But give them something that the outcome is slightly unpredictable, then they freeze. And they don't train middle management. One thing that the British system concentrate very much is do this, train the middle management so that they can deal with problems that comes up. Now, in a manufacturing mentality, they can manage people who do simple jobs because they come in here and you can learn everything that man's station in 15 minutes, half an hour. Now, that to me is a simple job. But you give them something that is complex. And if it's a top-down management system, everything go up to the 老板, the boss. The guy just would not have big enough or complex enough brain to deal with it. And then everything freezes. So what they do is they standardize things, they commoditize things, including people. They commoditize people. And they make sure that everybody think the same way and act the same way so that there are no surprises coming from bottom. If you think of the biggest network service that go to China, for example, McDonald's. McDonald's is industrialization of hamburgers. Chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken is also industrialization of a meal. I'm sure that those are the two. Pizza, it's a little bit different because every pizza is different. So that's how my curiosity and also want to not deal with boring things. I did it by default. I didn't like this. When I was 29 years old, I didn't know what I like, but I know what I don't like. And most of us make decisions that way, right? Yeah. I know I couldn't be an accountant, that's for sure.
Thank you,
because
Mr.
accountant, most of the things are predictable. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chung, for such a lively presentation. May I invite Mr. Peter Lee to the stage to present a souvenir to Mr. Chung, please?
Yeah, when Peter is coming up, I'll give you a very good example of the extremes. Bicycle is a simple, right? Driving a car is complicated, but everything is expected. When you push the brake, it would brake. So simple, complicated, complex is traffic in Hong Kong is complex, all right? Chaos is traffic in Nigeria because nothing is predictable. So that's simple, complicated, complex, chaos. I usually... Thank you.